Well,
Dude, but I know how important that is.
All right, hurry, let's go. You guys ready?
I filmed something and the cables
Start
are all
rolling.
I see. Yeah, that's all I see.
ready? Yo, welcome to the Bub and Bob Show, where we talk about things like faith culture in America from a Christian point of view. My first guest, or my only guest today, actually, is the great, the one and only, the guy I love the most, and I call him by name because he deserves it. He wrote a book called Mosaic, which is a beautiful book about how God takes all your broken pieces and makes a beautiful portrait out of it. He's also the president of Reasons for Hope and the co-founder of DeBunked with me. So, with no further ado, this is Carl Kerby.
My brother Bub, thank you, sir. I'm excited to be with you. And Mr. Bob, it's so good to see you again.
Nice to
Nice.
see you.
Yeah. And this is beautiful.
You like this?
You guys, I'm telling you, Bob, I
Oh,
know it
it's-
was you
it's-
because this guy,
Thank
That's true. You can say that across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if this part works, it's because of you, not me. I get it. I'm a pawn. I'm a stick in the hand of the Lord.
amen.
We
all are.
There's no
Welcome
doubt.
to the casita.
Yeah. They call it a
Beautiful.
casita, which makes no sense, but that's okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What do you think of the setting here?
I brought my swim trunks.
Yes, it's very nice. And the surfboard Bob put in, it's beautiful. I love this
You
place.
guys have done an amazing. I mean, honestly, I walked in here, I was like, this is beautiful.
It's very comfortable.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So before we get to Debunked, I want to go back in time and talk about your salvation story.
Oh wow.
Your
Okay.
story of who you were before Christ and who you are now and the sanctification that's taken place. And we do this on our purpose because we want a lot of everyone who watches this, right, to understand the power of God to transform a life.
Amen.
But it doesn't just stay there,
Right.
right? Because you love the Lord, because you know what Christ has done for you, you start to give back. You want to do something.
Yeah.
So everyone on this show is going to be a professed Christian,
Yeah.
but doing something with it.
Yeah.
Doing it, being on the front lines, being in ministry.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think you can take that light and hide, right? The Holy Spirit's dwelling up. So,
Yeah.
but wait, before you were a believer, you're dead, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, as vulnerable as you want to get, let's back up and talk about
Yeah.
your life and
You know, it's really interesting because I actually love talking about that because, not because I want to bring glory to self, but because I want to bring glory to God. If God can take the broken pieces, like you were talking about the Reasons for Hope and the Mosaic of Your Life, the book, I got turned on to that because in Israel, we took folks to Israel. And in Jordan, man, you go into the churches over there and you see the floors and they're all mosaics. And I got intrigued. They're beautiful mosaics. One city we went into, the whole highway was a mosaic that just ran through the entire
it's amazing.
city. And I'm not talking random, dude. I mean, it was like laid out beautiful.
Yeah.
And then in Jerusalem, we came around a corner and there was a big old wall, man. It was a big old wall and there was a mosaic. And I'm like 2 foot from it. And I look at it and go, pretty ugly. It's broken pieces,
Yeah.
man. And then I backed up and I got like 15 foot from it and I saw it and I said, wow, that's really cool. And then it was like, look, I've never heard God's voice audibly or anything like that, but He has definitely spoken to me and done things in my life. And I just heard the Lord very clearly say, Carl, that's your life. Mm-hmm. And when you're up close to those broken pieces, they're ugly. I mean, it's just ugly. Yeah. And then when you get back and get a proper perspective, and you can see how the Lord can take those things and turn them into something amazing. So that's what I'm always trying to encourage people to do, and that's why the book was written, was to encourage you, because you've been uniquely prepared to reach someone that will never listen to me. Bob's been uniquely prepared to reach someone that will never listen to me. So when we take and we give those broken pieces to God and allow Him to arrange them, it's pretty cool. My background's weird. I mean, I tell everybody I grew up around guys with one name, Crusher, Bruiser, Mauler, Assassin, you know, that's kind of the shtick. Yep. But I literally was raised in a home with a dad that was a professional wrestler. I would have told you till age 26 that I was a Christian because I was raised in the church. Mm-hmm. I went through catechism, so I knew stand up, sit down, kneel. I knew the whole ritual. And I genuinely thought I was a Christian. And man, it's a long thing to go through it all. But what happened is that when I got married in Japan, my wife is Japanese, and you had to go through background checks. Your spouses of the military had to go through a background check. So she went through the background check. And eventually we got this paperwork back, and they said I couldn't marry her because she was communist. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she worked in an orphanage that had been founded by Christians after World War II, but it was founded by Christians, and there were pictures of Jesus, and there probably was a Bible somewhere, but that was about it. But the union that she was the president of was socialist based, and she had written letters to the government stating that she was against nuclear weapons.
That makes you a communist.
Yeah, they made her communist. And I'm like, that's exactly what I
You don't
did.
want to blow people up. You're a communist, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, when the guy told me that, I mean, I'm 20 years old, right?
I
Smart.
think I'm against that too. I mean, so no one's for that, right? But we understand that it may be necessary, but I'm not for it.
I was like, okay, guys, they melted people here. I said, no, not they. We melted people here in the war. So of course you're against nuclear weapons, and if being against nuclear weapons makes you communist, color me red.
Yeah.
And so this guy looked at me. He says, "Fine, smart aleck, marry her. She'll never be able to immigrate to the United States." You asked me about my testimony, but my testimony is directly tied into my wife's.
Yeah.
So my wife had gone to a Christian kindergarten. She had heard the gospel message, didn't mean anything to her. But when I came home and told her what had happened, she went and she bought a Japanese Bible. And there were a couple of reasons for that. One of the plans was we go through immigration and, you're a communist, you can't immigrate. She's like, I'm not a communist, I'm a Christian. Here's my Bible. That was like a... But the other one was she had a dream before we left. And again, I'm not like this really hand-waving... I mean...
Sure, but she had a dream.
She had a dream, dude, and it was legit. And there's a branch of Buddhism that really goes after Japanese who are married to Americans. And so a lot of chanting, and they had come after us hot and heavy.
So they don't like it, is what you're saying. They go after it. They
come after you to bring you into the fold.
Oh, to get you too.
Yeah, it's called Shogogakai, and it's a branch that's really popular. It seems to be really popular with the mixed, quote unquote, marriages.
Yep.
And so she had this dream, and they were chanting, and it was black. It was chanting, but she saw a light, and she said that light is Jesus, and she knew that.
Wow.
And that was the reason she went and she bought that Bible. Now we get sent to the Azores. In the Azores, which most people are like, where's that?
Yeah.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I'm like, where's that?
Are you sure you're saying it right? Because if you said it right, I'd know where it was. Yeah.
It's off the coast of Lisbon, Portugal. If you go due west, it's a string of islands out there. Yeah. And so we get there. There's 4 Japanese on the island other than my wife. All 4 of these ladies were Christians. She's talking to them, and this is unheard of, dude. I mean, the stats,
like Christian
Japan.
sirens. Yeah.
Japan is 1/10 of 1%, right? And that's if you take all the cults and
put them in one spot,
exactly.
and the odds of that are it's providential.
All 4 are the Christians. She's talking to them, asking them questions. They're like, if you got questions, why don't you read the Bible? Guess what she just happened to have? She's reading the Bible. I came home one day and she'd been drinking, and I had
sake.
We didn't have sake over there. It was
she was bad stuff.
She was a Scotch person.
Oh, okay, Scotch. All right.
So I get home and she'd been drinking, and I had lived my senior year in high school. I'd moved out and I moved in with a family that let me stay there, and they were Christians. And I saw my wife and I said, you know what? You got problems. You need to go to church.
She had problems.
Oh, of course.
You're fine.
I'm good. I'm good. So I take her to church. The missionary that was there was his first Sunday. He was a guy that had retired, and they said they can't go back overseas, you're too old, and they couldn't get a pastor to fill this church, so finally they let him back in. He gets over there. This is his first Sunday. He preaches the gospel. My wife's prepared. She's been reading the Word. She gets saved the first Sunday.
Wow.
Mom is happy. I'm happy. Life's good.
Yep.
So now we get sent back to Salt Lake City, Utah.
Now, how old are you right then?
That would have been about 24.
Okay.
Because I didn't get saved till I was 26.
Okay.
So it was 2 years. She got saved. We moved back to Salt Lake City, Utah, of all places, right? I mean, prime bait.
Yeah.
Prime bait. And I don't know anything.
You'll take whatever's thrown at you.
I'm in. Yeah. So we moved back to Salt Lake City. We move into our house. It's a twin home, all right? And I'm cutting this way short. We move into this twin home. The neighbor comes out. The neighbor introduces herself, and I say, well, I'm Carl Kerby. This is my wife, Masami. And the neighbor looks at me and goes, Carl Kerby, I know you.
What?
And I was like, nah, I don't know you. She said, no, I know you. And I said, look, I'm really bad with names, but I know faces. I've never met you before. That's it. I'm the secretary at the church down the street. Your pastor in the Azores wrote a letter and said to be on the lookout for you guys, that you were coming this direction. I'm like,
so she heard the name, associated the name, you ran into her, and that happened.
Just so happened to move in next door to her, right? And it just so happens, in the entire state of Utah, there were 2 churches that met in Japanese. And guess where one of them meets? Her church, like 3 miles down the road. So now my wife wants to go to church because she's never heard preaching in her native language. So I drive her down to this church. We walk in. There's like 250 people. We get done. She goes downstairs for the Japanese. I go upstairs for the English. I walk out. I get in the car. I say, Masami, that church is too big. It's too impersonal. I'm not going back to that. You can drive yourself there if you want. After that first Sunday, the Japanese church disbands. They move 35 miles downtown Salt Lake City. And this is going to sound bad, but I'll explain. I was not going to let my wife drive 35 miles into Salt Lake City on the interstate. She got her driver's license in the Azores, okay? The Azores, the island.
Why do you even need a license for that? You just drive whatever you want and do any direction you want? Yeah.
This island we were on took 2.5 hours to drive around the whole circumference of the island, right?
Yeah.
So she's taking, it's cobblestone roads. There's one stoplight on the entire island. She's taking driver's lessons one day, and this is the honest truth. The steering wheel came off in her hand.
Wow.
And the instructor's next to her, oh, lessons are done for today. You think? Okay. So I got to drive her to church. There's 25 people in this church. Masami, this church is too small. I'm not getting anything out of it. That's just the way it was, man. So to cut it down, my brother started doing stuff that I had done in high school. Drugs, alcohol, you name it, I did it. I wrecked 3 cars from drunk driving. I've been sexually abused by 2 uncles growing up. Guys, I lived a life that I should be dead or in jail. That's reality. When I go do prison ministry, I can look those guys in the eyes and they start telling me what they did. It's like, oh, yeah, I did that. Yeah. Oh, I did that. The only difference many times is that I didn't get caught or they didn't prosecute when they caught me. So
you get along with Bob well. Yeah, sure.
Thanks for your input, Bob.
Yeah, but you guys should hang out and talk about your past.
My brother's doing this stuff, and I say, look, dude, come out here. He's getting ready to drop out of high school. It's his senior year, 6 months. I said, dude, been there, done that. I didn't have a high school diploma when I got out of the military. I threw a book at my English teacher my senior year. She failed me. I don't know why. I didn't hit her.
Yeah.
You must have been Bruiser. Were you Bruiser? What was your one name? What was your...
I never had... I was honestly... I think I was a quote-unquote nice guy, but I was angry on the inside. My parents divorced, my dad disappears, and I had that anger, but I didn't want to hurt people. I really didn't. I hated fighting. I hated that. It drove me crazy, but there was so much anger inside, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Yeah. I just didn't know how to deal with it. And
I know what you're talking about.
It came out in ways that are just bad. And so, man, this thing happens, and he moves out, and I take him to go see. This is crazy. A guy named Lowell Lundstrom, which... Unless you're out in the Midwest, you never heard of Lowell Lundstrom. 50-plus years, he traveled around the Midwest with his family doing these revivals. He came to Salt Lake City, Utah, for the first time ever. May 15, 1987, I go to University of Utah, the Huntsman Center, because Mark Eaton, the center for the Utah Jazz back then, is speaking. And I'm like, I tell my brother, you got to go hear this guy. He's an NBA player. Sports was my God. Basketball specifically was my God. I coached, I played. That was my God. So I take him to hear Mark Eaton. Lowell Lundstrom preached the gospel message, and I'm sitting there at the University of Utah, Huntsman Center, all these people, and it was literally like the scales were pulled off my eyes, and it's like, Carl, you're going to hell. You're sitting in church pews, you're taking people to church, you're putting money in the offering plate, you're going to hell. My wife's life is what spoke to me the most, quite frankly.
Yeah.
What
specifically was going on there?
I'm coming home, and I still struggle with the anger thing. I'm still struggling with that anger, and I got notes, scripture verses on the mirror as I'm going in to shave or brush my teeth, and do not let the sun go down in your anger. I get to work and I open up my lunch. There's a Bible verse in there.
So her way to minister to you is modeling it in these soft, beautiful little things instead of confronting you, just putting these things in. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's like she lived it. Yeah. And for somebody who grew up around facade, see, that's the one thing that the professional wrestling background...
Exactly, yeah. Everyone's make-believe on their own all the time. And
you just get to that stage where it's like, okay, you learn how to become a chameleon.
And manipulate.
It really is. Yeah. It truly is. You learn how to fit in. Okay, I'm in this environment, so I do this. But what you don't learn how to do is be who you really are. You put up these facades. And it's like... and my wife was just like the most genuine, real person who loved me. Yeah. She didn't kick me to the curb like my own father did when he disappears after the divorce and that sort of thing. She was there. And even when I didn't deserve it, she was there. And it was like, that was the transforming power to see Jesus modeled through her. And yeah, man, it was May 15, 1987. Just like, bang.
Was your son born then?
Yeah, both my
Was he-
children.
Both were.
Both our children were born in Japan before we left for the
Okay,
Azores.
that's right.
Yeah,
So you have those children.
Yep. They were like 5 and 4.
And so both of you really are unbelievers. You have the kids. God works on Masami, then He starts working on you.
Yep.
Right. So, like, what's the big difference when, because the whole Matthew 7:21 verses is scary, right? I did all this, and get away. I never knew you. A lot of people out there
Yeah,
believing they're Christians. You thought you were one.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden
Absolutely.
what made you go, no, I wasn't? Oh, wait a second, I wasn't.
It truly was the Holy Spirit just opening the eyes, and literally, as like
You're
the
going to
Scripture
hell.
talks about, the
Yeah.
scales came off the eyes. Like, you don't have this. You have this facade that you've done your whole life.
Right.
Is like, put these things out, put the Bible out on the table because somebody's coming over, and hey, look, we're Christians, and the only way that I know how to explain that is that the Holy Spirit has to open eyes. We don't do the convicting and converting.
Right.
That's the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
And we turn that over to Him, but we converse and we tell the reasons for the hope to lie within us, and then we just watch what the Holy Spirit does through our obedience. And that took all the pressure off me. That was like one of the greatest lessons I ever learned. Because it's like we're all, I can't do it. Oh, I'm afraid. I'm of this.
Or we think we got to work to do it, and we drive ourselves insane, and the anxiety rides because we go. I got more to. What can I do? And you can't do anything except
do it,
receive
dude.
the grace.
You cannot
so
do
the
it.
scales fall off. I
Yep.
mean, were you? So you said you did all this stuff in high school and everything. Were you drinking at all while you were married and stuff, or is it like nah? Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
So
I was still drinking.
Were you? Were you an air traffic controller at this point?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was an air traffic controller.
And at O'Hare, right?
At O'Hare.
Yeah, so-
Well, no, at that time I got saved in Salt Lake City.
Okay,
So I was at Salt Lake
City, right.
Approach, and then Salt Lake Approach, I ended up going to O'Hare, and so yeah, I was drinking even as a brand new Christian.
Okay. Yeah.
I drank. I quit when I moved to Chicago. That was just a crazy thing to watch, though. These guys, the drinking. But when I got to Chicago, I'm meeting, like the first week, you meet people, yada, yada, hey, yada, yada, that sort of a thing. And I meet this guy, and he introduces himself as, I'm Traycon Johnson. I worked in a Traycon. There's a different place you can work as air traffic, tower, Traycon, approach control. And he called himself Traycon Johnson. I was like, that's a weird name, We literally have hey, I'm Traycon Johnson. Hey, I'm Carl. Good to meet you. See ya. That night I'm eating dinner. I get a phone call. Hey, Carl, this is Traycon Johnson. Oh, hey, can I borrow some money? I'm not exaggerating, dude. I've had like this 5-second conversation with him, and he's like, can I borrow some money? And I'm like, man, we just moved here. I don't really, not in a position that I can do that. Oh, no problem. So the next day I go to work, and I'm having lunch with a different guy, and I'm like, trying to get the lay of the land. I don't know who the traps and all this stuff. And I asked this guy, I said, man, what do you know about Traycon Johnson? And this guy immediately says, why? Did he ask you to borrow some money?
Oh, wow.
And now I'm like, again, I'm not trying to burn any bridges because I don't know who's what. I was like, well, and I didn't want to lie. So I'm like, well, just kind of interesting. You call yourself Traycon Johnson. That's kind of a weird name. He said, yeah, he's a loser. He used to be one of those goody-goody Christian kids and Christian guys, and we got him to go down to the boat. They can gamble on the boat down there. He said, we got him to go out on the boat and got a couple drinks in him. And now he's lost his family. He's lost his house. He's an alcoholic. He's a loser. He owes everybody money. And when that hit me, I was like, okay, do I have the freedom to drink biblically? Yeah. Bible doesn't say not to drink. It says just don't be a drunkard.
Yeah.
But as a Christian, what I see many times are people that are kind of like, they want to push how close they can get to the edge. Well, I can get up to here.
Yep.
But me, I said, you know what? I may have the freedom to do it, but Traycon Johnson, he can't do it. So Traycon Johnson sees me out, and I'm doing this. Traycon Johnson tries it, and he loses everything. I don't want that millstone. So it's like, to me, I may have the freedom to do something, but I'm personally taking a stand where I'm not going to do it. I'm not judging you or you or you or, you do what the Lord calls you to do. But I feel like the Lord has called me to, Carl, you can't do that because that's a millstone. And I didn't want to, I remembered my own background, 3 cars driving.
Yeah.
Did I want my child, my daughter, my son?
Yeah.
If I have this propensity to drink like that, do I want to even model
Open a door
that
at
for
all.
them?
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, dude, I'm out. So that was me. That was a personal thing just because of life
Yeah, gotcha.
experience.
So the scales are off. You're moving along. You're
Yeah.
a believer. You go to you're in Chicago. You're like, hey, I really want to live my life like this. You told me a story one time where your daughter was sitting on your lap.
Oh, dude, you're gonna have me mess up my makeup.
And it was amazing because that was my issue, right? I have a lot of them,
Yeah.
but there was that deep seated kind of anger. Something is not right. I always have to get to the next thing, get out of my way, and I missed the moment. And when you told me that, I was like, man, that was a big part of me. But so share that story because I think it's huge.
That's a really hard one because that's about as real as it gets.
Yeah.
And I share it sometimes because I got to be careful how I share it because it's like it really does. It'll break me when I think about it. So I'm a brand new Christian, and I've taken a shower. I'm getting dressed. I'm getting ready to take off, and I look on my dresser, and there's a picture there of me sitting outside of an amusement park with my daughter on my lap. I was like, what a great picture. Dad took his kids to the amusement park, having a great day? No. When I saw that picture, I saw it for the first time with spiritual eyes. And I remembered exactly what I was thinking. And I was thinking, this kid is heavy. I wish he would get off of me. And man, I got to tell you, I broke. I literally broke right there because it was like, I realized I was doing to my children what was done to me. I grew up, and look, man, my mom is totally different. My father's passed away, and you don't want to disrespect parents and that sort of thing. It was a different world, okay? It was just a different world. But I just grew up with that feeling that I was the problem. And, the names that you get called and that sort of a thing. And so I never physically abused my children. I never verbally abused my children. But I never let them close because it was that facade thing again. What I had learned growing up the way that I did, moving all the time, we just moved, is that if I let you know who I really am, now you can hurt me.
You could hurt me, yeah. I was hurt before, right? Yeah.
Exactly right. So if I have this facade up and you're this, you're this, you're this.
You're hurting that over there, yeah.
You're not hurting me, dude. So I never let my children close, and I never even let my wife close. And that was a hard thing because, you're 4 years into a marriage, 5 years into a marriage.
She didn't really know you.
She didn't know me.
Yeah.
I mean, she knew a facade that I gave her, but she didn't really know me.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that picture, I'm telling you, I got on my face, and I just broke, and I said, God, I can't do this. I don't know how to be a father. I don't. You got to take this, and you got to do it. And that was probably the most dramatic turning point in my life, is to then watch what God does through someone who really is just recognizes how bankrupt we really are apart from him.
Yeah. Is that what inspired you, all that stuff, to write that book? And
That was a biggie because I think through the process of being real with people, there's a vulnerability. There's a level of, okay, this, you could get hurt here, but it's like, look, we live in a world that is so fake and plastic. I mean, took them like 40 minutes to make me look good to get on camera here. All right,
Don't give the secrets away.
I don't look this good in real life.
It took a long time.
Only Carl has makeup, by the way. We don't do that here in this show.
I don't
Just
look
the
this
guests.
good in real life.
Yeah.
All right, but the lady says she's going to make me look good. I'm going to go conquer the world.
Yeah.
But this is the world that we live in. Is that people think what they see, this is it, and this is what they want. So America, the most Christian nation on this planet, we spend $1 billion a year in plastic surgery to suck something out, to stuff something in, to cut something off, to look like what doesn't even exist. Yeah. And I'm like, no, man. Through the process of being real, you can be hurt. But I think that's what the Lord is wanting from us, is to recognize who we really are and just to communicate that to people and saying, look, you want value? Here it is. I loved you so much that while you were rejecting me, I came and I died for you.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can give us more value than that.
greater
So
love, yeah.
if you can pass that on to a generation that thinks their value is based on how well they look compared to a billboard, so they're never going to measure up.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. I mean, from a personal standpoint, a lot of people will look and go, well, I mean, but that's okay. I'm going to stay away from all that stuff. But everybody that has been transformed by that to realize that they need to be vulnerable and open themselves up will all say it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Because what you go from is enslavement to freedom.
Absolutely.
And the other way around, you're faking it, right?
Absolutely.
And you're always enslaved.
Yep.
right?
I agree, man.
So I mean, I love that.
But it's
the whole
scary.
part of it's very scary until you start doing it.
Yep.
Right? It's like all obedience to the Lord, I think. You're like, what are you, you're kidding me?
Yeah,
And then you take
yeah.
the step, and then you train a little more, and you get a little better at it. And then you're like, why didn't I do this 30 years ago? Like, Lord, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
So you want to activate. So, okay, so that section of your life, I mean, and that's, how's the anger?
You know, it's crazy, man. I mean, I still have a quick tongue. I mean, you're not an air traffic controller to hair for 8.5 years.
And that just goes away.
And that just, you know, it's there, but I don't have those issues.
Yeah.
I just don't have those issues because I think there's a comfort level in that I know who I am before the Lord Jesus Christ.
That's the key.
So when people call me this or they say, well, he's this or he's that. And
You don't have to puff up. You just
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah.
I read what you want to write about me on Facebook or something. It's like, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. The people that know me know me. Even my unsaved siblings,
Yeah.
they know me. You know,
Right.
And
right.
so it's like, you know, I've got comfort with who I am before the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Not in me and myself, because I know who I am apart from God.
Right.
But what He has done for me, man, I got peace.
Yeah. So so what do you go and do? What do you do when you're there? You're an apologist. You're an evangelist,
It's so
and
crazy.
you're just you're in love with the Lord. You know your Bible, and
Yeah.
you want everyone to know. So what do you go do? What is it you do?
Let me tell you a story. This last thing I did. It was a school. They rented a camp. They brought me out to do a 3-day retreat for their 7th to 12th graders. And so I walk in, and this is a very conservative school. And so I get up, and I'm looking at these kids when I walk in. I was like, they're not prepared for this. And so I get up, and it's like, I will typically start off with, look, here's the reality. 50 to 88% of your generation raised in the church are gone by the time you're age 18. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we're losing you. I don't think we ever had you.
No.
You're walking away from something that you don't know, and you're going to something that you don't even know either. So here's my goal this week. I am going to challenge you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to step all over your toes. But by the end of this week, I want you to know what you're walking away from and what you're walking to. Because when they see the bankruptcy of the no God approach,
Yep.
look, man, if you choose to go that direction, it's on you. I can't do anything about it.
You now know.
But
You now know, yeah.
You are going to be held responsible.
Better I had not shown up, right? So
That's my whole goal, dude, is I want to go out with passion, with clarity, with stuff that's understandable.
yeah, practical.
Yeah,
it's
I-
real
to me,
world
it's real
application.
stuff,
You can
yeah.
see it and go, yeah, come on, let's be honest.
I'm not the philosophy guy.
let's
I'm
be-
like, I
and-
get frustrated
yeah,
with that.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're great at
yeah.
that. That's why I love this combination that we've got with the debunked videos.
Yeah.
Because, dude, you're bringing that stuff in, but you've also got the practical application side. But you got more of that philosophy background understanding.
Yeah, I think all
And
yeah,
that's
all,
important.
It's all
It's
important,
important.
and it's the way it all works together. So you go. I mean, what's the reaction when you show up?
That same event,
Yeah.
administrator comes up to me after the first talk. He says, I didn't have a clue what I was getting when I got you.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the 3 days, in front of the entire students, he says, guys, when we get back, I'm committing to you that I'm sitting down with the teachers. We are changing the way that we teach because we are not preparing you to live into a real world. That is what I'm
Amen.
walking away from these last 2 days.
I love it.
And kids, I mean, oh my goodness, the kids. Another story, just within the last month, a school in there for the whole week. I was scheduled. They booked me to speak 5 times during the week, okay? I spoke 21 times because after the first time, the kids got so fired up. They're going to the administrator. They're going to the teachers. We want to hear more. We want to hear more. So the teachers started bringing me into the classroom.
Yep.
And I'm not blowing me up. This,
Yeah, no. It's
this
just
is
happening. Yeah, sure.
This is how God works, man. And so I'm in the classroom, speak 21 times, and when I walk into the classroom, these high school kids break out in applause. And it's like, I just see a hunger. I see a generation out there that is so sick of the mamby-pamby, and they're like, man, we want something that's real.
So give me
and
an
that
idea.
makes sense.
Just give me some topics. I mean, for everybody listening to this, if you have a chance to see Carl Kerby live, or you want to take your kids there, you want to go, it is an experience like you've never seen. This is what completely pulled me into this ministry almost 11 years ago. When I heard about this guy, he called me on the phone. I'm like, all right, let me go see you speak. And I saw him speak, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen. He is one of the most dynamic, most personable, most real, most honest, most truthful guys that is expositing scripture like you've never heard before. And the whole audience leans forward and at the end of it, they don't know what to do. There's so much energy that they're applauding, and they're asking this guy to come back. People rush up in line. There's lines behind Carl just to get more information and go, please help me with more of that stuff. So, and a lot of stuff that you talk about, the church doesn't talk about, people don't write books about. What are we missing? Why is it connecting? What topics are you talking about, and why is it connecting?
I'll tell you what I did this last week, just to keep it as real as possible. I started off with what is truth and why does it matter?
That's
I mean, what is it?
Yeah.
So you hit that and you show them why it does matter. And I'm using real world application. One of the things I made a decision is that, like, when I talk about like a Richard Dawkins or a Lawrence Krauss, I'm not going to put like just a soundbite up or a clip. Let's watch the video.
I love that.
Stop, talk about it.
Yeah.
Watch it,
One
stop.
of my favorite
talk about it.
things.
And I'm not taking things that, you're quoting them out of context. No. Let's watch it and break it down. Let's teach how to think, not what to think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Critical evaluation.
Yep.
So we started with that, and then we moved into the fossil record, because that's, to me, one of those big tools.
So you're taking on truth, you're taking on evolution, like this stuff that's right out in front of everybody, and that all the schools are talking about. None of the churches are talking about, not none, but
and the
a
Christian
lot of them
schools
are.
don't cover it many times.
They don't cover it many
Yeah.
times. You're going right after the basics.
Yeah.
If there's no truth, nothing matters anyway, so who cares? But now you're going into fossils and talking about the real, like, there's 2 points of view, right? We all have the same. We all have the same evidence.
Same evidence, same stars, same rocks, same.
And
people.
the thing that you say that others have said, but it's the first time I heard it, is like, science doesn't say anything. Scientists do, and they have a worldview, and they interpret things from their worldview, like a Christian looks at it and interprets it. So you're talking about the fossil record, and what do you say there? One of the things I love is when you do the dotted line thing.
The phylogenetic charts. We show their charts.
Yeah.
I take the secular charts. It's like, okay, let's take their information, because you're going to get exposed to this. You're going to go into a class. You're going to see this in your biology textbook, and you're going to say, well, man, that proves evolution. Yeah. And that's what I do to the kids. What's the show? Well, that you start down here with 2 lizards, and you get all the different dinosaurs. Really?
And there's a chart. I mean, I can't be wrong. There's some lines.
Let's
some
take
dots.
a look at it now. And then you read the fine print in the bottom right corner, and it says, tinted areas indicate solid fossil evidence. And then you look at the actual chart, and the tinted areas are all straight lines. That means the non-tinted areas that tie everything together, where the evolution is supposed to have happened, if it's not solid fossil evidence, then that means that it's
not.
It's
Nothing's there.
fable,
Nothing's there. It's a fable. It's a story.
You've taken and you've arranged. Like, we could take these things and arrange them into this really cool family, but doesn't mean that one came from the other. Yeah. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want them to see that for themselves.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things you do is you take even the Penn and Teller thing. You just take here's a person saying it. Let's look at it. Here's the chart. Let's look at it. Yep. Here's a quote from the guy. Let's look at it. And what you do with Lucy, right? Yeah. Or the ape. It's like the apes don't have whites in their eyes. You call it it's a lie.
It's a lie.
It's just a lie.
It's a lie. I grew up around facades, baby.
Yeah, you call out lies. You call out lies when you see them. Yeah,
it's crazy. When you look at
with facades.
Yeah.
You could
yes.
say.
Yeah.
This is real. Stop it. This is beautiful. The light never changes, but it's like unbelievable.
But see, that when I look back on it, this is what's so crazy to me. Son of a professional wrestler, all right? What credentials are there in that? They're perfect credentials for pointing out a world that is fake.
A guy with attention to detail, an air traffic controller.
Yep.
A guy that can point out facades. A guy that grew up in wrestling. Yep. You don't think God trained you perfectly to talk to the youth and go, let me talk about details and let me talk about facades.
It's crazy.
So I love
crazy.
that about you. So we're going to play a debunked here.
Awesome.
I'm going to play the resurrection one.
Oh.
And then we'll come back after that, and I want to just talk about debunked itself and what's going on with it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you guys take a look at this.
Now, lots of people say that there's no evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ, so all I'm going to do here is provide one line of evidence. It's unfortunate, but I just don't have the time to mention something like the half-dozen facts developed by resurrection expert Gary Habermas, for instance. Minimal facts that even skeptics, atheists, and liberal scholars agree on. These facts are as follows. 1. That Jesus died by crucifixion. 2. That very soon afterwards, his followers had real experiences that they thought were actual appearances of the risen Jesus. 3. That their lives were transformed as a result, even to the point of being willing to die specifically for their faith in the resurrection message. 4. That these things were taught very early, soon after the crucifixion. 5. That James, Jesus' unbelieving brother, became a Christian due to his own experience that he thought was the resurrected Christ. And 6. That the Christian persecutor Paul, formerly Saul of Tarsus, also became a believer after a similar experience. Man, I wish I had the time to mention those, but I just don't. No time, good sir. No time at all. I just don't have time to bring up what former atheist and law-trained journalist Lee Strobel said when he said, I figured it would be easy to disprove the resurrection. Give me a weekend and I can shred Christianity's central claim. Well, it wasn't that easy. After investigating the historical evidence, Mr. Strobel believed in the resurrection of Jesus. Watch the movie, read the books. Bummer I couldn't mention that to you. Ain't got time for this quote either. My job is to infer what is most reasonable from the list of evidences, said cold case detective J. Warner Wallace. After digging into the evidence, I was convinced that what the Bible claims about the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus is the best explanation. The only weakness in the case, and there are always weaknesses, was my own bias against resurrections. Now, since I don't have time to mention such things, let me just get right to my point, okay? My one and only line of evidence has to do with the appearances of Jesus after his death. This is recorded in an early creed cited by the aforementioned Paul the Apostle, which we find in his letter to the Corinthian church. For I delivered to you as of first importance what I also received, that Christ died for our sins in accordance with the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day in accordance with the Scriptures, and that he appeared to Cephas, then to the 12. Then he appeared to more than 500 brothers at one time. Then he appeared to James, then to all the apostles, and last of all, he appeared also to me. Okay, there's a lot of people who saw Jesus after he was crucified and buried. And this is exactly why Paul was so confident to stand in front of Festus and King Agrippa and tell them the truth. It's in Acts 25 and 26. Here's a snippet. Paul says, I stand here testifying, saying nothing but what the prophets and Moses said would come to pass, that the Christ must suffer, and that by being the first to rise from the dead, he would proclaim light both to our people and to the Gentiles. Now Festus said with a loud voice, Paul, your great learning is driving you out of your mind. Not sure if that was his actual accent, but Paul said, I am not out of my mind, most excellent Festus. I am speaking true and rational words, for the king knows about these things. None of these things has escaped his notice, for this has not been done in a corner. In other words, all this was falsifiable. Everyone around town was talking about Jesus' resurrection. People had seen him. The tomb was empty. The stone was rolled away. The guards were perplexed. The religious leaders were mystified and tried to create a lie about what happened to the body. Paul, who was persecuting Christians earlier, was now one of them preaching the resurrection of Christ. None of this was hidden. It was all out in the open. So, my eclectic, evidence-eager evangelist, each ecstatically expecting an extraordinary ending, I leave thee with this. From Clive Staples Lewis. This is the story. What are we to make of Christ? There is no question of what we can make of him. It is entirely a question of what he intends to make of us. You must accept or reject the story. But what you can't do is glibly claim or irresponsibly assert that there is no evidence for the resurrection of Jesus, because that, my friends, has been debunked. Adios.
There you go. I mean, super fast, super informational. You know, you got to watch these things 13 times, but they're actually built for people, you know, the young people to grab one or two nuggets, share them, talk about them, just get fired up. You know, how did this whole thing start?
Crazy story, man. Ministry that I was with before, I'm a Mac guy, loved the Mac PC parodies, right? The old commercials, hey, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC. And I said, man, I want to do this with, I'm a Christian and I'm a evolutionist, right? Yep. And so I'd written some scripts and I took them to the guys and they're like, not going to happen. Just a different ministry, right? And so my buddy, best friend at the time, he passed away about 11 years ago. He sent me a blind email, and he said, Carl, you got to watch this video. And I go and I watch this video. Hey, I'm creation, I'm evolution. And it's Mr. Bub, who I didn't have a clue who he was, right?
And I'm looking good in that one. The glasses are,
Oh, you got the nerd thing going, dude. You had the nerd thing going. Got the glasses and clean cut. Oh, it's awesome. And I was like, this is amazing. So I looked up, I was trying to research who made these videos, and I think I found an email for Veracity Collab.
Yeah, or Veracity at the time. Veracity Project, yeah.
Veracity Project. Yeah. So I find this email, so I write a blind email, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but I said something like, guys, I have been trying to get these things done, but now I know I couldn't because you guys killed it. I could have never done anything at this level. I'm a fan. And then I get an email back from you. It's like, Carl, I'm on your mailing list. Yeah. I'm a fan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And so I would just so happened to be going to Porterville, California, which I'm going back to this year.
That's the one
so
I went to.
I'm going back there this year. I got your phone number and I said, hey, Bub, man, come on out, bring your family. Love to meet you. Love to just sit and talk and dream, man. Yep. I mean, dream. And so Bub came up and brought his family up, and I got to meet him. And then we were just sitting down and over meals. I don't know really how it got going, but I know I said something to you like this, like, Bub, we got to reach a generation that just thinks different.
Yeah.
they're just thinking different. They're visual, and it's like, man, you got to bring it at them. So I think we need to do something like a Dirty Jobs meets Mythbusters with a Ford F-150 at that time. Remember the old Ford F-150
Dennis
commercials?
Leary just like cranking on the 30-second.
Yeah, you had that. They had that real mixed
kind of in your face poetry push. Yeah, it's like, but all selling a truck.
Yeah,
right?
And I said, man, I think we need to do that. Dirty Jobs meets Mythbusters with a Ford F-150 look and feel to it. And DeBunked was born.
Yeah.
Every time I used it in a Mennonite church. Mennonite church, right? I mean, no disrespect, but technologically, they're not like doing that kind of a thing. And I show a DeBunked video, and they break out in applause. I mean, this is
the Amish hats are flying.
No,
okay, sorry, I can't do that.
no, none of that. But it was just like they break out in applause.
Yes.
I go in that thing just last week. Those kids, every time I showed a DeBunked, it ended in applause,
Yep.
and that's kind of the thing. So it's like, we got to do this. But I've got my gifts, I've got my weaknesses, and I've kind of like maxed out my gifts.
Yep.
I don't know how to build structures and make things happen. Sure. And I had spoken in Florida, I think it was 8 years ago, something like that. And two guys that I had met there, one was named Eric and one was named Billy, and Billy was a guy that always stuck out in my head because he was, I don't know, there was just something that stuck out about him. And I said, man, and I talked to Wade, my buddy Wade.
Yep.
I said, Wade, we can coast or we can go for it. And I think we need to go for it. But if we're going to go for it, I don't have the skills and tools to do it. I think Billy does. Yep. Should I talk to him? He's like, yeah, go for it. I'm calling Billy. Like, come on, this guy's going to laugh at me, right? And I was like, Billy, I don't know where it's going, but I know this. This thing has a life that I can't give it. And I need somebody that can build it. And he said yes.
And let's start it at 50. We're all 50 years old. Let's get this thing going. It's about time. What's wrong with it? Now's the time to get things going when you're 50 or 60. This is a smart move. Okay, switching subjects completely. And that's great. And this is why we do debunks. And one of them is to this question. What scares you or concerns you about American, especially American youth right now?
Oh, what scares me is that we're becoming an increasingly crude culture. And when you remove any foundation of morality, of just that Christian mindset, if you totally remove that, and we watch these movies all the time, like, the Hunger Games and all that, I just think that we have prepared a generation to literally go into that
kind of
mode.
Dark.
Yeah, just angry. Your value is this, and if I want this, I'm going to take this. I'm just wired that way.
You have no meaning. You have no purpose. So just do whatever you want to. Treat anybody the way you want to.
And if you say anything different than me, then you're the bad person. So now
somehow that's bad. And
we're going to attack you. We're going to hate you. And
they'll bully you, and they'll call you names to shut you up because they really want to just go their own way and suppress the truth, right?
And so that scares me, that I think we're getting real close to that environment, but it shouldn't, because God tells us what it's going to be like.
That's where it's headed, but it's still not comfortable.
It's not
comfortable.
You don't want it
to happen.
You don't want it because you see the lives that are impacted by it, and there's. I'm with that guy.
Yeah,
there's hope.
Yeah, there's hope. There's hope. So, but you see different in the play. Well, you get both. You go to crowds of people, and there's kids, and there's teenagers, and there's college students there, and there's adults, and some of them are just being dragged there, and some are like, okay, what do you got? But then all of a sudden you see an energy like this Kiki girl, right? Who's like just becomes on fire. So God's raising up these incredible people.
It's the remnant, man.
And this ministry, the Debunked, Reasons for Hope, the stuff that we're doing on the Bub and Bob show, and what we're going to do with our products is all to empower them, right? To educate them, to get them in the game, to get them out, pulling their sword out in this fight, in this war they're in, to give them the tools, to back them up with prayer, and to give them resources where they can come and learn, right? Even if you don't have to be the greatest talker, or you don't have to start a show, but you can share this material. You can take one of these elements out and go, please listen to this, and God can use that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's that remnant that we have to go after.
Yeah.
We have to go after them. Parents, I want them to be so encouraged, because I tell folks I want them to be the hero to their child. Instead of your child coming and asking me these questions, I want them coming to you. So how do I encourage you, equip you, empower you to be that hero to your child? Not everybody's wired to do what we do.
Sure,
I get it. I understand it. But every
We're all
one of us
commanded to
are
do-
called,
Yes, to
and
do something.
commanded to talk,
to do something.
to share
yeah.
why we believe what we say we believe. Now, how you do that,
Exactly.
that's where the Holy Spirit comes in, and He's
Which I
gifted
love.
some to
I
do
love
what
that.
we do.
He's built us all differently, and
Yep.
you delight in the Lord. He's going to give you the desires of your heart. He's going to shape and put you right where, if you're
Yeah.
obedient, you're willing, you're open. I think there can be a revival in
I
America.
agree.
Definitely
I mean,
think.
let's take this right here. This is a perfect example. Poor old Bob's not even on camera, man.
Who?
There's a reason for that.
You know, the reason is he's prettier than me. If we started the other way
That's
around,
for
no one would
sure.
ever want to see. I'd go get that guy off. Get Bob on again.
But
get
what
that
you
pretty
see
boy
here?
Wait,
on.
hey,
Oh, here he goes.
Yeah, he's on camera. Yes.
Okay, you hear the glass shattering. Pieces of the glass are falling apart.
But what you see
Yep.
is a product.
Oh, this is Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I just think that if we can encourage these people who, well, I'm not wired that way,
Yeah.
and doesn't matter. You can do something.
Yeah.
So,
Write cards, write little verses on Facebook.
My wife,
call a friend,
Bible
text
verses on
somebody.
there.
Sticky
Love that,
notes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
The
Put something on your car. I mean,
That's
there's
why
a million things you can do. At
These
least to get
gospel
active.
bracelets, man, I get them from the Threads of Hope, a ministry from the Philippines. An entire village turned upside down because of thread.
Okay, a couple more things. So
Yes.
I want to know who your inspirations are. Who are the people that you saw and you learned from, and you're like, thank you for that guy, the mentors in your life? Or
Yeah. Number one would be my wife,
Yep.
honestly, because she lived that life. Number two would be her father. Now, this is crazy because he's a tiny Japanese guy. He passed away 2 years ago. But when I got married in Japan, everybody that I knew that was American that married a Japanese lady, the father-in-law would disown the daughter, kick him out. First
wow.
child comes along, then
Then they're kind of ease back in.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
I don't want to be left alone. Yeah.
my father-in-law never did that to me. He accepted me. As a matter of fact, I'd go work for him on my days off. And when I went and worked for him, he would introduce me to the other. He had a small plumbing company. It wasn't like a big thing. But he would introduce me to the peers, his peers, as Watashi no Musko, my son. Not Giri no Musko, which is son-in-law. And so as a non-Christian, when he accepted me, that spoke to me, but I didn't fully understand it until I became a Christian. My father-in-law had a big impact on me, even before he was a Christian.
Wow.
He later became a Christian, which is
Love it.
cool. Ken Ham, I can't
for sure.
not acknowledge that.
For
Ken
sure.
Ham is my spiritual father. He gave me the opportunity to get in ministry. He trained me. He poured into me.
Yep.
He gave me opportunities. Then during that whole time that I was with them, I traveled with you name the guys. I basically got to travel over meals, sitting and talking. And that's where I learned,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
I'm not a
That's-
book learner
yeah,
guy. I'm a let's sit
observer
and talk.
conversation.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can tear it apart a little bit. It doesn't make
what
quite
about-
understand. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
And so
dig in.
in that experience, man, where I was traveling with these guys, Dave Menton. I love Dave Menton. Dave Menton.
Yep.
A lot of folks may not know who he is. Dave Menton was 35 years, Washington University School of Medicine. The top 1% of medical students go there to learn how to be doctors, right?
Yeah.
And he taught histology. And Dave Menton, to me, was like amazing. Just the knowledge of
he's
the
amazing.
body
Yeah.
and I was like gleaning from this guy.
Yeah.
I loved traveling with him and learning from him. So those would be guys that really had a big impact. And still, even a lot of Josh McDowell had an impact on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Josh had an impact on me. I read his
Evidence demands a verdict. Yeah.
Evidence
yeah.
that Demands a
Mere
Verdict.
Christianity, or was
his
it
first one was More Than a Carpenter.
More Than a Carpenter? I always get those mixed up. One was C.S. Lewis. One.
That
yeah,
one
okay.
rocked me,
Yeah,
man.
More Than a Carpenter.
That
Is
one
good
rocked me.
stuff.
Ray
Yeah.
Comfort. Ray Comfort's message, Hell's Best Kept Secret,
Yeah.
was like probably in one of the first 5 messages that I heard as a brand new
Yeah.
Christian.
Yeah.
That I was like, yeah.
Yeah. No, that guy's on fire. I love
Yeah.
his ministry. And,
So he
and what
impacted
does.
me,
All
so-
those guys. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know your father-in-law, but the other
Yeah.
ones that you mentioned. So before we're going to go to the last question, I just want to tell everybody out there, look, like my friend Billy says, every war needs a war chest, right? Every ministry that happens here requires donations, requires people to see the vision and to get on board and to be moved by God and to give to ministries so they can be on the front lines and change the hearts and minds of people so that people can know Jesus and be set free and they can have hope in heaven and hope in Christ. That's what we do. If you're listening to the show, you find Debunks effective, you're listening to Reasons for Hope, and you go on their website and you go on their social media and you find this, or you get this. If you're lucky enough to ever go see them live, you'll understand the impact. But go there and donate and give to this ministry because it is making a gigantic difference. Okay, last thing. You got about a minute. I want you to look right in this camera. You're the last thing that you're ever going to say, and you're dead right after you say it. What do you want to say? Look right there.
Oh, man. What I would tell you is that doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter what's been done to you, that there's a God that created you, loves you, and while you were rejecting him, died on a cross for you. And there's nothing that we can do. There's nothing in this world that we could ever do to deserve that. And that's the God that we serve. This God that I should be on my face before him because I know who I am. I know what I've done. I should be on my face. I got nothing, man. Forgive me. But that God that I need to be on my face before comes over and he will pick you up off the ground. He will clean you off, put you in a clean set of clothes and put the ring on your finger and give you the value that you already have, that he put inside of you. If you'll just turn it over to him. You are a child of the King. Don't let anybody treat you like a bum again. Remember who you are before Christ, because the world's going to try and tear you down, but he died for you while you were rejecting him. We can't do anything to deserve that.
The one and only Carl Kerby. Adios.
See ya.
We're out.
Hey everybody, this is our follow, like, share, learn, and give section. Our goal really is for you, as a Christian, to get inspired, get equipped, and get out there. That's why Story Brothers creates content like the Bub and Bob Show. Your voice as a representative of Jesus and God's Word is important for the world to hear now more than ever, trust me. Okay, to get some great resources from and to learn more about Carl's ministries, please visit these places. On the web, r4h.com. That's R-F-O-R h.com and getdebunked.org. That's GETDEBUNKED.org. And on Facebook, type in @Reasons for Hope, all one word, and Get Debunked, all one word. Okay, that's the @ symbol, not the word letters AT. Okay, on Instagram, look for R4H and Get Debunked. Please follow them, share their stuff, and support them. They're making a huge impact. And finally, the book we mentioned that Carl wrote is called Reasons for Hope in the Mosaic of Your Life. Just go to Amazon and search for Carl Kerby. That's CarlKerby. And don't forget to sign up for Amazon Smile and choose Reasons for Hope as your charity of choice so they can receive money from your future purchases. Okay, links to everything will be on the Bub and Bob Show Instagram and in the YouTube description in that episode. See you guys next time on the Bub and Bob Show.
Hey everybody, Carl Kerby here, Reasons for Hope. I had a blast being on the Bub and Bob Show today, but I want to ask you to please consider supporting this program. You need to give your tax-deductible gift today to help keep these things free. Stay bold.